Hello, friend, and welcome to the SNUBS video for the Mount Rushmore of African animals. If you are coming here after watching the African animals video, I guarantee you are mad at me. And that's okay, because we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk it through. We're going to go through a little therapy together. We're going to talk it out like reasonable human beings.
It's
we're
cathartic.
people on the internet. Internet is full of rational discussion, is it not? Which is why we are here. Which... if you are here and you did not watch the African Animals Mount Rushmore of Everything video, the link will be up there. Please watch that first because there are spoilers and you should know what's on the Mount Rushmore before we talk about what the snubs of the Mount Rushmore are.
Just do it right.
Only makes sense. Watch it in the correct order.
Do it right, please.
Be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you know when the next one of these
Humor us.
come out.
Go ahead and do it. Humor us. Just for our own... for our own obsessive compulsiveness, do it in the right order. Actually, just stop it right now. We're not going to talk. Go and watch it.
Yes.
All right.
You haven't done it yet. Why not? Go do it. Do it now. Do it. Do it. So,
Snubs.
Snubs. We have to talk about the elephant in the room.
We didn't even think about it. We are the worst, man. We're the worst.
The elephant in the room is, of course, if you watched the videos in the order you were supposed to, you know that I left the elephant off of my Mount Rushmore, and you are angry about it. So, we already heard that a part of my argument is that it is the only one that is not, besides the lion, which to me was the most clear, it is not African exclusive, which wouldn't hurt it so much, except that I would argue that as much, if not more, of its iconicness comes from its Asian counterpart. Because personally, no spoilers, because we have not done the Asian animals video, but at least on my first thought, when I think of Asian animals, it's in the top two I think of. Whether it ends up on that Mount Rushmore or not is to be determined. We'll see. But
I
the more
already
I dove
have my
into
two
it,
non-negotiables for
Asian. So not that it necessarily points against. So this is where it gets nuanced for me. Is to me, when we say what is the Mount Rushmore of African animals, some aspect of that right needs to be something where like this is truly African in nature, right? Like a lion is truly African. Like they are inextricably linked. The zebra, same thing. The cheetah, same thing. Like, they don't even exist in other continents. But to me, the elephant is clearly... It is linked with Africa very heavily. But it is at least also, equally as linked with Asia.
Yeah.
Which, to me, my thought is, the second you think to yourself that you might have in two different continents... the same creature on two Mount Rushmores, which again, we haven't done that video yet, so we don't know. But just the thought that it could be, to me, is points against it, because now the question is it just an iconic animal that happens to live in Africa? There's a distinction there between a distinctive African animal versus an iconic one that happens to live in Africa, which is my main argument against it. Now, again, I don't hate the pick. Right? Like, it was one of your non-negotiables, first time in history that a non-negotiable was not even on somebody else's list. I believe. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think I am. I get it. Totally. The issue with this one is, as we mentioned before, there's like 8 animals in my mind competing for those last 3 spots after the lion. And the not African exclusive, and going so far as to say it might even be more iconic, or at least as iconic in another continent as it is in Africa, ended up being that thing that took it off and put something like the zebra, which is truly just an African animal, in there. It
makes sense.
Because at the end of the day, if I just take the zebra and put it next to the elephant, or just take the cheetah and put it next to the elephant, or just take the giraffe and put it right next to the elephant, I cannot honestly say that I think the elephant's more iconic to Africa than any of those other 3. And if it can't win on a head-to-head battle, clearly for me, the whole Asian thing is enough to take it barely off. If there were 5 on the Mount Rushmore, I still think it would be there.
Okay.
If that makes you slightly less angry,
it makes
YouTubers.
Sense. No, we're still mad, but it's fine.
Okay.
We still love you, man.
Let me know the hate in the comments. Give it to me.
They will. All right.
Yeah. I look forward to it. I
So-
will respond with a thumbs up and respect your opinion, even if it differs with mine.
You want to hear one of mine?
Yeah.
All right, one of mine was the rhinoceros.
Yes. Yes, that is absolutely one of mine as well.
So, just thinking about it, I think that even though it's in this array of so many diverse animals, it's like we almost forget, like, oh yeah, there's the rhinoceros.
Yep.
It doesn't, like, in popular culture in school when you talk about it's like, oh yeah, there's also the rhinoceros.
For sure.
So I guess for me to think of it as being part of the Mount Rushmore, I guess that it should, like, in pop culture, it should be more present. It should be more like, for us, it should be more in the front of our minds.
I agree completely.
As an African animal.
Instead of being clearly like the fifth or sixth one.
Yes, that you have to go and say, okay, there's this one, and then let me think, what else? Oh, this one, and then like this. Oh, and then the rhinoceros.
Yep. And then.
And then.
Which brings me to, for the elephant, it just would need it. The second it became an African exclusive, it would instantly jump up the list and be on my 4. So I want to clear that up, because I did not say what it would need to do to be on my Mount Rushmore. And I agree with the rhino that what it needs to do is jump up in our mind. Also, not an African exclusive. That is yet another one that is also a pretty high in the iconicness for Asia. So
They
that's
have
another
rhinoceroses?
one. Yep.
Interesting. I did not know that.
So that was other points against it. And then I think the big thing here is I can't have the rhino in there if the elephant's not in there. And the elephant's not even in there for me. So again, we don't rank them, but right now it's sitting in a spot where even something that it can't surpass, because it's like the less iconic elephant in many ways, right? Like when it comes presence of mind, it's after the elephant. Bigness and sort of just presence, it's after the elephant. Like, in every possible way you can rank them, it's after the elephant. It doesn't even have the African exclusive thing over the elephant. So for me, like, it can't get any higher than that sixth spot, which I don't even know if it's there, because again, rankings don't matter, especially what the point is, are you in or are you out? So it would need to do something, probably the iconic front of mind thing, in order to take over the elephant. I could maybe entertain it over the elephant if it was African exclusive. Maybe, but I think it needs both. Yeah. Even African exclusive, I still don't think it's on my 4.
It's such a cool animal, man.
It is.
It's so unique and cool, and it's like a juggernaut.
Yeah. You don't want that guy running at you.
You don't want to mess with it.
Yeah.
And I think also it's the only African animal that it's a Spider-Man villain. And I think it's one of the cool ones.
Isn't there like a cheetah one? No, that's Wonder Woman. There's the cheetah.
Yeah, the
person.
Yes.
Spider-Man probably has them. Anyway, this has nothing to do with it. You're getting us off track. We have a bunch of snubs in here. This was a very interesting. This was an extremely interesting snubs for me, because it's some of the things on here are just like, in so many other cases you'd be like Mount Rushmore. But they have to be snubbed. So one of them is the hippo, which is extremely iconic. Very limited area. They live in Africa, but I do think it's an African exclusive ? It feels kind of like the crocodile, another one of my snubs, where it's sort of screwed by being water dwelling, where just there's something about that makes it feel a little less Africa to me. I don't picture it quite as much. And then for the crocodile, since I've already addressed it, a big hit against crocodile, which might not even be, if there were 10 in the Mount Rushmore, it still might not make it, even though it kind of deserves it, because it has too many relatives in other parts of the world.
I think so. Like
I
don't even think of
alligator.
If I think of the crocodile, my mind doesn't go to Africa.
Yeah.
It goes to Florida.
Yeah, even though that's an alligator. But it's the same family, same idea. And honestly, I think the crocodile is one of those that might... I don't think it will ever get in a continent Mount Rushmore, but it's going to be a recurring theme of like sort of a snub underneath all of them, where like it's a very iconic animal, but like it just doesn't belong to a continent really.
I think it's its own thing.
Yeah, it's kind of its own thing. And the hippo is it needs to be more memorable, and it feels, not that this is a top anything list, right? We're very adamant about this is not a top 4. Mm-hmm. This is a whole different thought process dynamic. But if we were to have a 10 we pick or whatever, a hippo feels very in that 10. It doesn't feel like it's even in the 5 when it comes to mind. I mean, the rhino's clearly ahead of it. The elephant's clearly ahead of it. Mm-hmm. The 4 I had on my list are clearly ahead of it. And then some of the other ones that I'm going to mention are honestly ahead of it.
Have one snub also, one more, and then that's it. Is a hyena.
Yep. That was another one on my snub list. Yeah. Also, fun fact, not an African exclusive. I thought it was. Really? Apparently it stretches all the way to Siberia in Asia, which is crazy.
That would be scary to be there in the snow and ice.
Would not want to mess with. Those are ugly looking dogs. They are ferocious little things. Or I say little, they're not little. We think of them as little because they're small compared to a lion, but like a lion's massive. So, yeah, hyenas for sure. For me, a big hit against that is if we did African carnivorous animals, maybe it's in the Mount Rushmore. Even then, maybe not. You have the cheetah and the lion clearly ahead of it in my mind. And then you also have some other things that are in the discussion, such as the crocodile and another snub, the leopard. Which, so for the leopard, for me, it would need to be an African exclusive is one thing. Like the lion and cheetah both are. Lion, again, there's like 500 left in India, but it's basically an African exclusive at this point. And it would need to have a specific thing to make it stand out, like the cheetah, the speed, lion being top of the food chain of Africa in general, being the biggest
too
cat.
Much about these things, man.
I know, it's so fun to me. But so the leopard, right, sort of doesn't, like, it doesn't stand out in any specific category. It's also very common in Asia, right? Like a leopard is a very Asian animal and it's also very African. But it's smaller than the lion, so it's not that top of the food chain. I mean, it is, right? Like nothing really hunts leopard. But like it just can't. Again, it just can't get in there because of all these.
You know what's
little
interesting
factors.
about the leopard is that, thinking again about, and not coming from like a designing point of view, because I'm always into patterns and those type of things, and it's that you think of an animal print. So we talked about you usually go to the tiger would be the first one.
Sure. And
the second one, more than likely, would be the leopard print.
Yeah.
But then even if you see a cheetah print on anything, you think, oh, leopard print.
That's true. That's true. Because cheetah print isn't like a name that comes to mind.
Yeah, it's like we call it the spots on the black spots on yellow.
Yep.
That is a leopard print.
Yep, no matter
what. It doesn't matter if it's spot or circles or
any matter
other
what
variation.
Colors inside of it. And yeah. So also for the hyena, it needs to be an African exclusive for me. It also would need to find a way to stand out amongst a very crowded predator group that also includes the leopard and the cheetah and the lion. So another one. So first, gazelle. This is on my lower end of the list. This is barely a snub.
Any of those.
Yeah, it's barely a snub at that point. But it's basically the deer of the continent.
So for me, that's a snub in the snubs list.
Yes, almost. Yeah, so that's barely worth mentioning. But one that I think is worth mentioning is the gorilla, which is an African exclusive.
Oh, yeah, I thought about that.
It is the largest primate.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're thinking about most iconic apes, or even primates, the whole family or whatever umbrella that is, that's gonna be on that list, right? It's arguably the most iconic of all the apes, and it's like, African exclusive.
For me, it feels like he's.
I know
on its own thing. I don't know why, but it feels like it's.
I know, and even like. if you look at the pictures and stuff, often, even with the safari, it will be there, but like often it's not there.
Most likely it's not there.
But even if it is there, it's always like like it might be the shadow behind something, or it's very much in the background.
It's like whoever put it together is thinking, what else? Oh, a gorilla, I guess. Sure, let's put it there.
Yeah, but like it's another one where like because there's a clear dynamic difference of like trying to elevate something into the Mount Rushmore, right? Like sometimes there's 3 that clearly deserve to be in the Mount Rushmore, and then you're like, ugh,
yeah,
none of these feel like they belong, deserve this respect, but I gotta pick something. Yeah. We have to have 4. This is one that, again, like many of these, the rhino, the elephant for me, the hippo even, the hyena even, maybe you could say, but gorilla's another one where like it feels like it deserves the Mount Rushmore, but I have to kick it out just because there's so many other better options than it. Like honestly, it might be 7 or 8, but it still feels like, oh man, I had to take that out more so than trying to force it in where it doesn't belong.
Yeah, right. Like if you're thinking, okay, the crocodile or the gorilla, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, and yet neither of them are on there. And it's not, I don't know, because, like, neither of them deserve it. Like, if you just came up to me and said, African animals, Mount Rushmore, gorilla, or crocodile, I'd probably be like, oh, I can see that. And then I'd go through the list real quick and be like,
wait a minute. Yes.
Did you say top 10 or Mount Rushmore? Right? Like top 10, we're talking.
Yeah.
And they're probably almost definitely there. But for the Mount Rushmore, with the different things we're considering, as well as just you only get 4.
They'll probably have the gorillas.
Yeah, let us know if they have that. I don't know if they have that. I do like Watch Mojo, but yeah. And of course they'll get to number 1. No hate, Watch Mojo, but they'll get to number 1 and you'll be like, they haven't said the lion yet. So obviously it's the lion. And then you'll just skip the rest of the video because you don't care anymore. Yeah. Just saying, Watch Mojo, maybe reverse the order. Helps make it more interesting. Just saying. Not that you care because you're making millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And we are not. So here we are, sitting in Carlo's living room, telling you how to do your business.
Because you don't know a thing about these things.
Yeah. Let me explain to you how business works. Watch Mojo. 3rd or 4th or 5th, I think 6th biggest YouTube conglomerate on the planet. It's in the top 10. So
we'll do a Mount Rushmore of those.
We do have massive respect for you, Watch Mojo. I do love your videos. In all seriousness.
I do too.
So yeah, so this was a juicy discussion for me. Like the Mount Rushmore was a blast. This one was a blast. And what I have even more fun with is when you hit the like button. Hit the like button. It makes me have joy. And I don't feel the joy right now, so that means you haven't hit the like button, which means you've let me down. Please don't do that. You've watched this video so far. That means you're probably enjoying it. Otherwise, you have a very low bar for what you spend your time on. Because we've probably been talking for like 15 minutes or more, and you are still watching this. What do you do with your time if you don't like it? So drop a like. Let us know that you like it. Comment below what else you think we might have snubbed, or what we snubbed from the snubs list. Something that you feel was deserving of discussion or explanation why we didn't have it in our Mount Rushmore. Let us know that in the comments, and share this with a friend. Specifically, share this with a friend and share the actual Mount Rushmore video who's going to be ticked, maybe even more ticked than you, that I snubbed the elephant. Do it. And we will talk to you next time